be back tomorrow morning. Right now, Colin tells you how LeBron and Kawhi can help parity in the NBA. The Herd starts now.
Here we go on a potentially explosive Wednesday. I think you know what I'm talking about. This is The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, we are live in Los Angeles on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Joy Taylor is joining me. It is a great day. We are on the eve of the 4th of July in America. Very, very fun. I'm wearing a little red, white, and blue today, and I'll probably wear it tomorrow as well. It's my favorite holiday, Joy. I've said that for years. My favorite holiday.
It is your favorite holiday.
Stuff gets blown up. I love it. It's beer.
Do you participate in the fireworks?
Oh, absolutely. I love fireworks.
Like, you actually set off fireworks?
Oh, yes. In my driveway, I've done horribly inappropriate things with explosives.
I don't do well with fire. I set my hair on fire once, so I felt like that was a sign. I should avoid all fire-related activities.
Well, it's great to have you in on a Wednesday. Folks, sometimes, and I'm guilty of this, there's a topic, and I find myself, I'll use this term. Oh, I'm looking through the wrong end of the telescope. I want to give you a fact, and I think even though you know it, I want to remind you of it. Since 2010, what year is it? 2019? Since 2010, 7 different teams have won an NBA title. Just let that soak in as you drive around the country or as you're watching. 7. Lakers, Mavs, Heat, Spurs, Warriors, Cavs, Raptors. Folks, player movement creates parity. You're looking through the wrong end of the telescope. We have players now, multiple players, star players, playing with championship rosters who leave them. Kawhi Leonard is playing for maybe the best GM and the best roster in the league. I am out of here. What? Kevin Durant with a dynasty. I'm going to take less. I'm out of here. What? Jimmy Butler with a championship contending team in Philadelphia. I'm going to go to Miami and play for a 7th seed. What are they doing? The mobility ends the possibility, in this instance, of repeat champions and dynasties. This is the most different champions we've had since the 70s. And the critics of the NBA are simply looking, as I would call it, through the wrong end of the telescope. Now, I want you to think about mobility. We have all these stars leaving championship teams and leaving contenders for less qualified teams, less proven front offices, less proven owners. Because this is who we are in America. This is our DNA. We don't demand that you have milk in our grocery stores. Of the 208 countries, a third of them just people go into the grocery store hoping for milk. We demand we have soy and 1% and skim and whole and almond and oat. In fact, I am so needy, I have refused to go to grocery stores that don't have the kind of milks, plural, that I have, that I want. Things in this country that are taboo. You give us choices, they'll become norms. Dating online. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, you're going to meet a guy you just met online. Ooh, it is now an industry. Getting into a stranger's car. That's what your mom warned you about. Stranger drove up to my house last night. Get in. All right. Matching license plate on Uber matches. I'll just get into a stranger's car. Taboo. It's the only way I travel. Because in America, we demand choices. And when you give them to talented people, oh, my friends, they take them. Even for less money. Even leaving better coworkers. Even leaving better management and ownership. Kawhi Leonard's going to probably leave Toronto. That's the best GM of the sport. Kevin Durant just left Golden State. That's the dynasty in the sport. Jimmy Butler just left the Philadelphia team that's got like 7 good players. I mean, Joy and I last year were like, I think Philadelphia has the most good players after Golden State. He's like, well, I'm going to go play for a 7th seed. They have nice water down there, no tax. This is what we are. Let me take you now, you fearmongers, to a time in America when we did not have mobility and players did not have options. The Boston Celtics, Bill Russell, didn't have the option to leave. They won 11 titles in 13 years. In college basketball, UCLA, players couldn't transfer. They won 10 titles in 12 years, an 88-game winning streak. The transfer portal creates parity. Kentucky's landing all the good players, yes, and they leave after 1 year, ready or not. Duke got the 3 best players in high school basketball and didn't win a title because they weren't quite ready to dominate college basketball. It's all fear-mongering. People are looking through the wrong end of the telescope. The Montreal Canadiens dominated hockey in the 60s, 70s. Nobody dominates it now. 8 seeds beat 1 seeds. Canadian teams struggle with American teams. There are no Celtics. There is no UCLA basketball. It's nonsense. When I go to a grocery store in America, I not only look and seek for the kind of milk I like, I demand it or I don't go to the grocery store. And when you give people options in America, they will take them. We fight so hard for these freedoms. We fight so hard for these options. That stuff that's taboo. These are now societal norms. Kevin Durant, 1 year into the Warriors, all the fear-mongering. 1 year in, he was already restless. Kyrie Irving hit the game-winning shot, played with LeBron. 2 months later, he was already restless. Kawhi, Toronto, 1 year, already restless. Take a deep breath. Kawhi to the Lakers. It ain't going to last 9 years. 6, 4. I don't know if it will last 2. Player movement creates parity. And for an individual, you and I, Kevin Durant, went from Mr. Under-Reliable to the game's best player because of movement. In 3 weeks, look at how interesting the Pelicans have become. Look at the Utah Jazz in 5 days. You see it as a negative. I see it as an absolute defining positive. Since 2010, the NBA has 7 different champions. The Celtics without mobility, 11 titles, 13 years. All right, here's a headline this morning. Lakers think they're leading on Kawhi Leonard. I said yesterday, that's not what I'm hearing. I'm hearing everybody's got a shot, but Toronto and the Lakers have the lead, and it's slight. Now, this is something, and Kawhi is different, but I want to remind you, everybody that takes meetings almost always leaves. Chris Bosh had a meeting with Miami. LeBron, Gordon Hayward had a meeting with Boston. Dwight Howard had a meeting. DeMarcus Aldridge had a meeting with the Spurs. Jimmy Butler went down, flew himself to Miami. Kemba Walker was in Boston. Kawhi Leonard is taking meetings. That's essentially aggressively flirting. Paul George did not take a meeting, stayed in OKC. Klay Thompson did not have a meeting, stayed in San Francisco. Chris Paul last year, player option, did not have a meeting, he stayed. You do not sign up for Match.com when you're in a happy marriage. That doesn't mean you're miserable. That doesn't mean your life is awful. But what would Kawhi Leonard learn from a call to Magic Johnson and a steak dinner with Jerry West that his own people couldn't decipher? I looked in my life this morning as I drove to work, and I thought to myself, oh, I'm 4 for 4. Every time I took a meeting, I left. Tampa, Portland, a meeting with ESPN, and a meeting with FS1. And in all 4 cases, I was offered significantly more money, except FS1. I'm not leaving here. But in the other ones, I was offered jobs to stay, and I wasn't miserable, and I was offered more money. But I took a meeting. And when you take a meeting, that generally means just something is missing. Bryce Harper took a meeting. He left. Manny Machado in baseball took a meeting. He left. You know who didn't take a meeting? Mike Trout. He's got everything he wants in Anaheim. I don't think there's a ton missing in Toronto. I really don't. Owner, GM, players, culture, scouting. But it is, let's be honest, the one team in the NBA in another country. Now, the country's close. We can see it from here. And it's smart, and it's diverse, and it's kind of wealthy, and it's global. But you turn on the TV and you see their shows and not our shows. And we've had several players say that it is a little different when you play in Canada. Steve Nash, by the way, Canadian, once turned down the Raptors. Vancouver, one of my favorite cities, in fact, probably my favorite city in North America, kept the Grizzlies for about an hour. So I'm just saying, when you have a meeting, it doesn't mean you're miserable, but it generally means, A, there is something missing, and B, you generally leave. All right, good stuff today. Absolutely packed. I got to tell you, you know how Kevin Durant was kind of restless from day one in Golden State? Very quickly after the first one, you hear a bunch of stuff. Now, it felt like initially a little bit of a nuisance or a headache for Golden State. You had to kind of manage it constantly. Did it end up being a huge strength for the Warriors? That headline news of joy, all coming up. All right, summer's here. It is official. I have seen the sun break through now for 4 straight days. And tomorrow I'm going to a place after the show that's warm. It's barbecue season. It's grill season. That means protein on the grill. Butcher Box offers grass-fed beef,